तम सर्वभूतात्मभूतं प्रशान्तं समदर्शनम् भगवतेजसा सृष्टम् न शक्नुवन्धन्तुम् उद्यमहि तं सर्वभूतात्मभूतं प्रशान्तं समदर्शनम् भगवतेजसा सृष्टम् न शक्नोर्धन्तुम् उद्यमहि तं सर्वभूतात्मभूतं प्रशान्तं समदर्शनम् भगवत्तेजसा सृष्टम् न शक्नोर्धन्तुम् उद्यमहि तं सर्वभूतात्मभूतं प्रशान्तं समदर्शनम् भगवत्तेजसा सृष्टम् न शक्नोर्धन्तुम् उद्यमहि तं सर्वभूतात्मभूतं प्रशान्तं समदर्शनम् भगवत्तेजसा स्पृष्टं न शक्नोत् हन्तुम् उद्यमैः प्रशान्तं समदर्शनम् भगवत्तेजसा स्पृष्टं न शक्नोत् हन्तुम् उद्यमैः तं Sarvabhutatmabhutam, the soul in all entities, Prashantam, peaceful and without hatred, etc. Samadarshanam, equal to everyone. Bhagavat Tejasa, with the power of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Prishtam, protected. Na, not. Ashaknod, was able. Antum, to kill. Udyamahi, by great attempts and various weapons. Translation. The Lord, the super soul of all the living entities, is sober, peaceful, and equal to everyone. Since the great devotee Prahalad was protected by the Lord's potency, Hiranyakashipu was unable to kill him in spite of endeavoring to do so in various ways. Purpose. In this verse, the word Sarva Bhutatma Bhutam is very significant. Ishvara Sarva Bhutana Vitteshe Arjuna Tishtati. The Lord is equally situated in the core of everyone's heart. Thus, he cannot be envious of anyone or friendly to anyone. For him, everyone is the same. Although he sometimes seems to punish someone, this is exactly like a father's punishing his child for the child's welfare. The Supreme Lord's punishment is also a manifestation of the Lord's equality. Therefore, the Lord is described as Prashantam Samadarshanam. Although the Lord has to execute his will properly, he is equipoised in all circumstances. He is equally disposed towards everyone. We will also read the translations of text 38 to 42. First, they had a purpose, so we will at least go through the translations. Text 48 to 42. Text 38. Thus checked by the doorkeepers Jay and Vijay, Sunanda Sanandana and the other great sages very angrily cursed them. You two foolish doorkeepers, they said. Being agitated by the material qualities of passion and ignorance, you are unfit to live at the shelter of Utrishas, lotus feet, which are free from such modes. It would be better for you to go immediately to the material world and take your birth in the family of most sinful students. While Jay and Vijay, thus cursed by the sages, were falling to the material world, they were addressed as follows by the same sages who were very kind. O doorkeepers, after 3 births, you will be able to return to your positions in Vaikuntha. For them, the duration of the curse will continue. These two associates of the Lord, Jai and Vijay, later descended to the material world, taking birth as the two sons of Diti, Hiranyakashipu being the elder and Hiranyaksha the younger. They were very much respected by the Daityas as the Janavas, the demonic species. Appearing as Narsimadev, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Sri Hari killed Hiranyakashipu when the Lord delivered the planet Earth, which had fallen in the Garbhodak ocean. Hiranyaksha tried to hinder him, and then the Lord, as Varaha, killed Hiranyaksha. Decided to kill his son, Prahalad, who was a great devotee of Lord Vishnu. Hiranyakashipu tortured him for many days. Then comes the next verse. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Sapitam Yena Swayam Rupakala Bhakti Sura Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Ram Shri Guru Vaishnava Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahavana Radhanam Swajivam Sadvaitam Savam Parijanam Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahavana Vivash Shri Vishal Krishna Pada Krishna Namaste Saraswati Devi Gurunde Prachar Nivishesha Saraswati Mahavalanyani Krishna Prema Krishna Hare Krishna Chaitanya Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagate Gopesh Sukita Vachaya Tattva Shri Radhe Krishna Supere Granami Nilachara Nivasaya Nityaya Namaste Paramahansa Shantinataya Dev Vanchat Vishya Vivasudhe Hare Shri Krishna Hare Prabhu Nityananda Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, I seek the blessings of this great community on the devotees assembled here so that we can make some humble attempts to glorify the Lord and His devotees. So we can observe those stories. The Lord, the super soul of all living entities, is sober, peaceful, and equal to everyone. Since the great devotee Prahlad was protected by the Lord's potency, Hiranyakashipu was unable to kill him. In spite of endeavoring to do so in various ways. So the Prabhupada is explaining in the Prabhupada how the Supreme Lord is situated in the heart of every living. Therefore, the Supreme Lord is always acting for the benefit of the living. It is being explained that the Supreme Lord is super peaceful. The Supreme Lord is neither a friend nor an enemy. So he is equally disposed. And the fabric of his equal disposition, or the fabric of his disposition, the proclivity is that of oceanic love. The Lord is always acting for the betterment. Therefore, the Prabhupada is describing here. And just like a father punishes a child sometimes, the Lord's punishment is also. The Lord's punishment is beneficial for living in. So the Lord's punishment is also a manifestation of the Lord's mercy. Here Prabhupada is saying Lord's punishment is manifestation of the Lord's equality. And the Lord's equal disposition is that of mercy, is that of love, that of compassion. Now the Supreme Lord is always desiring to shower his mercy upon every living entity, upon every living entity. So therefore the Supreme Lord's attempt is always towards the betterment and the benefit of the living. So what creates uh, the so then what creates the difference in the manifestation, or what causes this difference that the devotees appear to be favored, the demonic personalities appear to be crushed or appear to be stopped? So it is like this. So the Lord is always acting for the betterment of the a devotee of the Lord, because he is acting for the pleasure of the Lord. The pleasure of the Lord inherently contains the welfare of the living. So that means that the devotee is acting uh, for the pleasure of the Lord, but that contains the welfare of the living entity. And therefore, and the Lord is acting for the benefit of the living entity, and the living entity tries to proceed towards the pleasure of the Lord, which includes the welfare of the living entity himself or herself. That means the two are in the same direction, and therefore, such a devotee experiences great encouragement and amplification and empowerment by the Supreme. Because the Lord is acting for the betterment, that is the directionality. The living entity is working for the pleasure of the Lord, but that directionality is also towards the welfare of the Jiva himself. So therefore, there is great amplification and resonance and empowerment, which is experienced, which is manifest. And what is the case and profile of the demoniac living entities? The demoniac living entities, they are not acting for the pleasure of, they are not acting for the pleasure of the Lord. The pleasure of the Lord contains the welfare of the jiva. And when the jiva is not acting for the pleasure of the Lord, and the jiva is obsessed or illusioned to act for the pleasure of the senses and the mind, then that is detrimental to the welfare of the jiva. So therefore, the jiva is acting towards uh, his or her own destruction, self-destructive behavior, that is. And the jiva is acting in the directionality of self-destructive behavior, which is opposite to the direction of the welfare of the jiva. And the Lord is acting in the welfare of the jiva. The Lord is acting in the direction of the welfare of the jiva. And the jiva himself or herself is acting in the direction, owing to demoniac propensities, such a demoniac jiva is acting opposite to his or her own welfare. So therefore, the manifestation of the effect is that of inhibition. The Lord never fails in showering his compassion and mercy and love onto the jivas. So experience of Resonance, amplification, empowerment, or the experience of inhibition is in our hands. Is in our hands. The Lord is always acting for our welfare. So therefore, whether the jiva experiences empowerment, protection, as was experienced by Srila Prahlad Maharaj, or whether the jiva experiences inhibition and crushing, as was experienced by Sri Hiranyakashipu, both are actually the same because the Lord favored them by acting in their welfare and offering them great mercy. And that is what is said that the Lord is equally disposed towards everyone. And the proclivity of disposition is that of immense love and mercy. That's what we can understand here. Mother Kunti Devi addressing this theme in her prayers, first canto 8 translation of Bhagavatam. Mother Kunti Devi is saying that in every aspect of the Supreme Lord is bewildering. Every aspect of the Supreme Lord is bewildering. Now, this kind of bewilderment is experienced in is experienced in two ways by the people of different person, not different by of different proclivities, by the people of different proclivities. This bewildering effect is experienced in two ways. And great devotees and pure devotees of the Lord see this very nature of the Supreme Lord, this bewildering nature of the Supreme Lord. Uh, then it completely captures their mind and their existence. The bewildering nature of the Supreme. Mother Kunti Devi is saying, "Oh Lord, you are born or unborn." It is bewildering. Whether you take birth or you are unborn, it is absolutely bewildering. It's saying, "Oh Lord, you are partial or impartial." That is bewildering. Oh Lord, you are fearful of Mother Yashoda. Although fear personified is fearful of you, that is bewildering. Mother Kunti is saying. So in this way, Mother Kunti is explaining, revealing this very theme that I guess every aspect of the Supreme Lord is bewildering. So when a devotee of the Supreme Lord having faith and having the mentality of taking shelter of the Supreme Lord, when such a devotee sees this bewildering nature of the Supreme Lord, such a devotee, this nature of the Supreme Lord completely captures overwhelms and completely captures the mind of the devotee. And that is the state which Kunti Devi, Mother Kunti Devi is highlighting. Now, on the other side, when a demoniac type of personality so the when the very interestingly, when a person of demoniac mentality interfaces his kind of bewildering nature of the Supreme Lord, such a person experiences extreme crushing effect, crushing and pulverization effect. Nowhere to go, nowhere to quit. That becomes the situation. And that is what we understand with personalities. Uh, like we see the case of Kamsa, Ravana. So they were not understanding what to do, so not able to take a step forward also, and not able to quit also. So extreme pulverization. So Kamsa and Ravana, we hear from the scriptures, the Acharyas, that they were so much fearful of the Supreme Lord that they were not able to eat or drink because in the food also they were seeing Krishna. Not able to eat, not able to drink water because in the water also they were seeing Krishna. Not able to lie down, sleep. The principle is true. The principle is true. Ito Narsimha, Parto Narsimha, that principle is true. The Lord is everywhere. But the realization is taking place in such a crushing way. In such a crushing way, the realization is taking place. Because the proclivity or attitude was not to surrender towards this. Therefore, the bewildering presence of the Lord manifests in a very crushing way. But in case of the devotees of the Lord, the presence of the Lord is manifested in such in such a pleasing way. That is why Prahlad Maharaj is praying to Lord Narasimhadev, and he says in this beautiful prayer, Aham viveni ajitate ati bhayanakasya. And he says, uh, Ugradamstra. Uh, so he's saying, oh Lord, I am not fearful of your ferocious form. Although your form is supremely ferocious, but I am able to see that your supremely ferocious form is ferociously beautiful and it is ferociously very loving. So Prahlad Maharaj is, this is how Prahlad Maharaj is seeing. And whereas Hiranyakashipu is seeing the Supreme Lord as being completely crushed, pulverized. Prahlad is saying, I am seeing supreme beauty and supreme love exuding and radiating out of your ferocious form. So I am not fearful of your tongue, which is like a sword. No, I am not fearful of your ears, which are now casting aside the even the clouds. No, and uh, and your nails, which are so sharp, and they are all soaked with your nails, and your chest is all soaked with blood. How much is the shame? Because what I am seeing is that supreme love. You're the supreme deity of that love, and therefore I take shelter of your love. So one time we were hearing Sri Jananivas Prabhu, Jananivas Prabhuji was explaining that Lord Nrsimhadev is the deity of parental affection. Lord Nrsimhadev is the deity of parental affection. Uh, and so that is the mood of Lord Nrsimhadev is that of a parent, a father, a mother. Uh, and in the attempt to in the attempt to protect the child, that is the mood of Lord Nrsimhadev, the manifestation of that parental love. And that parental love is appearing or manifesting in the form of protection and anger for those who are trying to harm the child. So uh, just like when somebody tries to yeah. So just like when someone tries to harm child, the mother will become very angry. So Lord Nrsimha Dev is like the mother. She's the mother lioness. She's very angry because her cubs are trying to be harmed. With an attempt. She's like the mother lioness, and she's very angry because uh, uh, of her extreme affection for her child. This kind of extreme affection the Lord has for every living entity. The same mother who's protecting the child. So this is very interesting. Now, on one hand, we are seeing the uh, the Lord Nrsimhadev is protecting Prahlad Maharaj, very angry because of the mood to protect the child Prahlad Maharaj. But the Acharya has explained it is not just protection of Prahlad Maharaj. No, the Lord is protecting Hiranyakashipu also from doing any further sinful activities, demoniac activities. Because the Lord is smashing away the entire demoniac mentality of Hiranyakashipu. The Lord is protecting Hiranyakashipu also. So, the protection of Prahlad Maharaj becomes evidently seen, but the Acharyas give us the vision that it is protection and love for Hiranyakashipu also. That's what Prahlad Maharaj, that's what the Prabhupada is explaining here. So Prabhupada is saying, the father may slap the child. The same child the father is trying to protect and now put on the lap. The mother, the same child, she may put on the lap and feed on her lap. If the child does some nefarious activity, the same mother may slap the child also. Same mother will slap the child. And now the child is crying and the child is beaten up and his face is swollen and all that. And soaked in tears. And the same mother will pick up the child on the lap again. The Acharya is explained in that same mood. Lord Nrsimhadev, he slapped Hiranyakashipu. So the Lord Nrsimhadev, he slapped Hiranyakashipu. And the Lord Nrsimhadev is but at the same time, Lord Nrsimhadev had get Hiranyakashipu on his own lap because he is also the child. That is the point. And Lord Nrsimhadev is having great affection for Srila Prahlad Maharaj. Therefore, Bhagavatam explains that the Lord Nrsimhadev, he took his blessed hand and he placed it on the head of Prahlad Maharaj to offer benediction. That blessed hand, which always reward or gives fearlessness, abhayam. Utapyatat Shrini Adahat Karambujam. The Lord raised that blessed hand and straight on the head of the. And the Acharya explained further that the Lord was feeling even more love outpouring from his heart. And therefore he picked up Prahlad Maharaj and put him on his lap. And then the Lord was feeling even more love overwhelming from his heart. And therefore the Lord started, because he was in the form of a transcendental lion, lioness, like that mother lioness, he started licking the body of Prahlad Maharaj with ecstatic love. But the Acharya knows now this is the love of the Lord. Now the same Acharya explained, and the Acharya also explained uh, that the Supreme Lord, he was feeling Hiranyakashipu on his lap, and the Lord was feeling great love because he was seeing that only this is my devotee. Then we say, and the Lord was feeling great love actually. The Lord wanted to embrace, uh, and that is why out of great love and affection, the Lord took. When there is great love, the person is not there. Suppose there is love, the person is not there. The mother may take the clothes of the child and smell and kiss, like that, because the child not there may gone out or something, In the same way, the that's love, no. In the same way, Lord Nrsimhadev is seeing the body of Hiranyakashipu in that same with that same love and affection, and Lord Nrsimhadev. So just like the mother takes the clothes of the child and smells and kisses, in that same way, Lord Nrsimhadev took the very intestines of Hiranyakashipu and wore them to, to keep the body of his devotee very close to him. That is why, so that is the Lord's love. That is the Lord's love and affection, as is being as or the acharyas are highlighting. And yes, where is the Supreme Lord having any discrepancy in his affection for any living individual? The Lord is equal. So therefore, this this aspect or this vibhuti of the Supreme Lord, uh, this bewildering vibhuti of the Supreme Lord is in one sense the greatest is the greatest figment of opulence. And for a devotee, this figment of opulence is so much overwhelming that a devotee may just that it may just overwhelm the devotee's existence. And this is the nature of Supreme Lord. So therefore, now the interesting thing is that the so in that sense we can understand now the Lord is partial, Lord is impartial. That's a very beautiful discussion, and the Acharyas actually can go on discussing for eternity about whether the Lord is partial or impartial, because each argument on every side increases the ecstasy of the love and sharanagati of the devotee. So whether the Lord is partial or impartial, that's an eternal debate. And the Lord is, may say, okay, the Lord is equal. That's what we are reading in the purport. But the Lord's equality is not like our concept of say communism. Lord's equality is not like the concept of communism. So the uh, uh, so they say okay, one of the policies of communism is because everybody is equally rewarded. So illiterate and PhD same reward. Industry owner, industry worker same reward. And they say what is the motivation to work then? Where is the motivation to work? If there is no gain, why to take the pain? Why to work? Everybody will sleep. And that is one of the argument which is, or that is one of the loopholes in communism. That where is that motivation? Lila Prabhupada explained the second problem in communism was that okay, this whole attempt of equal treatment to everyone is not possible without bringing in God. So therefore, in the history, the result happened that those people who were administering equality, they were reserving special rights for themselves, and thus they were breaking their own principle of equality. And that is what led to the downfall of communism. And therefore, Srila Prabhupada explains that only spiritual communism is possible. Material communism is never possible. So without God, there can be no sense of equality. Ah, so without communism, no sense of equality. Uh, uh, Without God, there is no sense of equality. Yes. Without God, there is no sense of there is no question of equality. Uh, so now the equality, we have to understand, just understanding the Lord is equal is not sufficient. Therefore, we have to understand what is the nature of the equality of the Supreme. That is something which is to be understood. What is the nature of the equality of the Supreme Lord? We can see that a self-obsessed and self-centered person also has equal treatment for every living entity. And that equal treatment is that of exploitation. Because the self-obsessed and self-centered person sees every living entity as an object to exploit and enjoy, whether that living entity is a stranger or family member, it doesn't matter. Because he's self-centered person. So he sees every living entity equally, that sense. So that is so just equality is not the point. Just equality is not the point. Uh, uh, Similarly, no, there are certain very dangerous personalities called as psychopaths. Lot of movies are made on them, and they treat also everybody equally. They want to kill anybody, everybody, and very ghastly. A lot of ghastly episodes are made on them, and like that. These psychopaths or so they also treat every living entity equally. So that is the now that sense of equality is so in that sense equality is not the principle. Equality is not the principle. What is the directionality of equality is very important. So therefore the Lord, therefore it is and here. So why Kunti Devi is in ecstasy that okay every aspect of the Supreme Lord is bewildering because Kunti Devi is seeing that so Mother Kunti Devi is seeing that in the neutrality of the Supreme Lord, the neutrality or equality is not sufficient. It can be, what is the directionality of that neutrality? What is the disposition of that neutrality? That is to be understood. In the neutrality of the Supreme Lord, Mother Kunti Devi is saying there is extreme partiality. And that is Krishna. In his neutrality, there is extreme partiality. And so does that make the Lord partial? No. The Lord is neutral. But in his neutrality, there is extreme partiality. But when Lord Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita that I am equally disposed to everyone, immediately the next line the Lord says, but those who are devoted to me, for them I am especially inclined. Now, so there is a great encouragement for the devotees that okay, if you take a step towards the Lord is especially inclined and favorable. So the Lord is, in that sense, the Acharya has explained, the Lord is completely partial also. Absolutely partial. A normal householder, materialistic householder may also be very partial towards his son and daughter. Very partial. May exploit anybody just to furnish the happiness of the son or daughter. So again, partiality is not the point. The person may be partial or not, may be person. So, so what is the vibhuti of the Supreme? Acharya is explained. And in the partiality of the Supreme Lord, there is extreme neutrality. Because that partiality is available for every living entity. It is available for fallen souls like us also. It is not just available for Prahlad Maharaj. It is available for everyone. So the Lord is extremely neutral, but in his neutrality there is extreme partiality. And the Lord is extremely partial, and in this partiality there is extreme neutrality. This is the vibhuti of the Supreme Lord. So when uh, Acharyas meditate on this theme, they can go on eternally talking about it and reading about it. Because this is such an amazing opulence of the Supreme Lord, which reflects the nature of the fathomless ocean. The Lord has oceanic love, and that ocean is fathomless. So this gives us a sense of what is that fathomless oceanic love of the Supreme Lord, which is always expanding, and we can understand. We can understand by this. Uh, we can understand by this particular episode. So that is the reason. That is the reason a devotee doesn't get bewildered. Uh, that is the reason the devotee doesn't get bewildered. Because the devotee understands the nature of the love of the Supreme Lord. So when Prahlad Maharaj is seeing that all the demigods lined up have failed in pacifying the Supreme Lord Nrsimhadev, some of the demigods are not even trying to attempt. Even Mother Lakshmi was not trying to attempt to pacify the Lord. Acharya explained she wanted to give, she knew the heart of the Lord, so she wanted to give chance for the Lord's Masai to take place and the opportunity to work. She wanted to clean the road, make the road available for Prahlad Maharaj. So Prahlad Maharaj is not confused. Prahlad Maharaj didn't get bewildered and bewished that oh everybody else has failed. That means I am a great devotee, much better than all of them. So Prahlad Maharaj did accept the instruction when Brahmaji beckoned him to go ahead and try to pacify the Supreme Lord. Prahlad Maharaj did accept the instruction, just like an obedient servant of the servant. And that is why when Prahlad Maharaj uh, uh, starts to glorify the Supreme Lord, Srila Prahlad Maharaj is saying, Brahmadaya Suragana Nayota. Madayam Suragana Munayam Siddha. So he's saying, Satvai Katana Vachasak Prabhani, Naradhikum Purubane, Napitipru, Kim Toshtum Arhati Same Hari Ugra Jati. Srila Prahlad Maharaj is explaining that all these great demigods, they're all made up of pure goodness. And they are such exalted devotees of the Lord. And oh Lord, they are they are attempting to glorify you, you're not getting appeased. What is this? That they are speaking Uttama Shloka words, such choicest words with such great feelings. You are not getting appeased. How can a fallen person like me, a demoniac person like me, can glorify you, Lord? So that means, so Prahlad Maharaj is not bewildered. He is not, no, the pride or arrogance could not touch him because Prahlad Maharaj is able to understand that it is not that the Lord is not pleased with all the devotees and headers. The Lord is neutral, the Lord is partial for every living. So the Lord is not expressing that He is pleased. That doesn't mean He is displeased. He's very happy with all the devotees. And the Lord is giving me an opportunity to make an attempt. That doesn't mean I am something extra, but it is just the mercy of the Lord and the devotees that they are giving such a fallen person like me an opportunity to purify myself. This is the beautiful consciousness Srila Prahlad Maharaj is highlighting. And therefore, Srila Prahlad Maharaj is saying, Tasmadaham vigata viplava Ishwarasya sarvatmani mai grinami yatha manisham. Prahlad Maharaj is explaining that, oh Lord, definitely, certainly, I am most fallen with demoniac blood flowing in my veins. But because here, all of you are giving me an opportunity to glorify you, O Lord. He said, oh Lord, I don't have any qualification, but I will attempt. I will attempt to the best of my capacity to glorify you. I will attempt to the best of my capacity to glorify. And he's explaining in this way, oh Lord, you arrange situations in which we can serve you and glorify you. And what happens? Why that situation is arranged? When we serve you and glorify you in these situations which you arrange, we get purified. So Srila Prahlad Maharaj is explaining that we get purified. Or just like a lady when she is trying to dress herself and so she's sitting in front of the mirror, she starts putting bindi on the mirror, then that decoration is temporary. But when she puts that bindi on her own forehead, then it is permanent decoration. In that same Lord, in that same way, O Lord, when we try to serve ourselves, this is the false identity, it's a mirror reflection, that's the mirror image. Then that particular attitude of serving oneself is short-lived. But you are the original person. When one tries to serve you, that is like the lady decorating herself, her own forehead, and the mirror image automatically becomes decorated and beautiful. In that same way, when we try to serve you, O Lord, Yachatmani, Yathamukashri, yeah, now our heart becomes enlightened automatically. That becomes the perfection of our life. And this is your great installment of mercy. And this is Srila Prahlad Maharaj's message for all of us. And okay, in whatever situations the Lord arranges for us, whether it appears to be a bat or it appears to be a slab, uh, uh, It is great mercy of the Lord. It is great love of the Supreme Lord. And therefore, we should just go on making that attempt to glorify the Lord, to serve the Lord and the devotees of the Lord. Go on and on and on to serve the Lord and the devotees of the Lord, taking shelter of the Lord and the devotees of the Lord. The same Prahlad Maharaj is asking the Supreme Lord when it comes to benediction. The same Prahlad Maharaj is asking, please give me eternal service unto your great servants. Please give me eternal service unto Sri Narad Muni, my spiritual master. And I just want to serve him for eternity. Soham katham na virsajeta vabhritya seva. How can I give up service to this great devotee of yours? And this is the divine teaching Srila Prahlad Maharaj is giving us. Go on serving the Lord, the devotees of the Lord. Uh, and in this way, whatever situation the Lord arranges uh, for us is a manifestation of the Lord's love and mercy. Hare Krishna. Let us start here. Do we have any questions or comments?
Okay. Nice. So that point I like that whether Jiva experiences empowerment or inhibition is in Jiva's hands, and it is said that that's why it is that's why it can be said that Lord is equally disposed to everyone. So like whether the Jiva experiences empowerment like Prahlad Maharaj or inhibition like Hiranyakashipu um, is in the Jiva's hands because the demons are not acting for their pleasure, uh, and whereas the devotees of the Lord are acting for Lord's pleasure. So uh, when devotees act for Lord's pleasure, it happens to be their own benefit. But when devotee demons act for Lord's doesn't act for Lord's pleasure, then it is self-destructive. And when so that's why the inhibition and empowerment happens. So that's really that point you mentioned. I mean, we know usually, but the flow of how uh, you explained that was very striking.
Gangaj Gopalakan Ji,
Jai.
Jai. Jai.
Jai.